Saw my wife's GPS marked at a motel instead of the networking event she claimed to be attending. Showed up, knocked, and a shirtless guy answered. I smiled and said, "Tell my wife she left her wedding ring at home." His smirk faded, and then she came running out, eyes wide with terror. I never thought I'd be sharing this, but I need to get it out. My wife, whom I'll call Sarah, and I have been married for 12 years. We live in Chicago, and I've always believed we had a solid relationship built on trust and mutual respect. Sarah works in marketing and frequently attends networking events to expand her professional circle. Last Friday, she mentioned she had one downtown and would be home late. This was nothing out of the ordinary, so I didn't think much of it. That evening, while tidying up the living room, I noticed Sarah's tablet on the coffee table. I picked it up, intending to place it on her desk. As I did, a notification popped up on the screen. An email with the subject line, "Your reservation at the Grand Motel West is confirmed." My heart skipped a beat. Curious and slightly anxious, I opened the email. It confirmed a reservation for a single room at the Grand Motel West, located at 4925 West Madison Street, Chicago, Illinois 60644. The check-in time was listed as 6 p.m. that evening. This didn't align with the networking event she had mentioned. I sat down, trying to process this information. Doubts began to creep in. Was she meeting someone? Was there an innocent explanation? I needed clarity. Recalling a conversation with a friend about the Life 360 app, a location-sharing tool families used to keep track of each other, I decided to install it on my phone. Sarah and I had previously shared our device passwords for convenience, so accessing her account wasn't difficult. Once set up, I saw her location. She was at the Grand Motel West, not downtown at a networking event. A surge of emotions overwhelmed me: confusion, anger, betrayal. I needed to know the truth. Without overthinking, I grabbed my keys and drove to the motel. The drive felt interminable, though it was only about a 20-minute journey. My mind raced with scenarios, each more distressing than the last. Upon arrival, I spotted Sarah's car in the parking lot, confirming her presence. I approached the motel's front desk, trying to appear composed. "Excuse me," I said to the receptionist. "I'm looking for a guest who checked in earlier this evening. Sarah, last name." The receptionist glanced at her records. "I'm sorry, but we can't disclose guest information." Understanding their policy, I nodded. "I understand. Thank you." I stepped outside, took a deep breath, and decided to find her room myself. The email had mentioned room 214. I located the external staircase and ascended to the second floor. Standing before room 214, I hesitated, heart pounding. Gathering my courage, I knocked firmly. After a moment, the door opened, revealing a shirtless man, likely in his late 30s, with a surprised expression that quickly turned smug. Suppressing my rising anger, I forced a tight smile and said, "Could you please tell my wife she left her wedding ring at home?" His smirk vanished instantly. Before he could respond, Sarah appeared behind him, wrapped in a bedsheet, her face a mask of shock and fear. "I can explain," she began, voice trembling. I didn't wait to hear more. Turning on my heel, I walked away, ignoring her pleas to talk. The drive home was a blur, my mind oscillating between anger, betrayal, and heartbreak. Back at our apartment, I sat in the darkened living room, replaying the evening's events. The woman I had trusted implicitly had deceived me. Sleep eluded me as I grappled with the weight of her betrayal. The next morning, Sarah returned home, eyes red and swollen from crying. She approached cautiously. "We need to talk," she said softly. I looked at her, the pain evident in my eyes. "Talk about what, Sarah? The lies? The betrayal?" Tears streamed down her face. "I'm so sorry. It was a mistake, a terrible mistake." "A mistake?" I echoed bitterly. "Booking a motel room and lying about a networking event isn't a mistake, Sarah. It's a choice." She sank into the chair opposite me, sobbing. I never meant to hurt you. But you did, I replied, voice breaking. You shattered everything we built over 12 years. We sat in silence, the chasm between us growing wider. Finally I spoke. I need time to think. Sarah nodded, standing slowly. I'll stay with my sister for now. As the door closed behind her, I felt an overwhelming sense of loss. The future we had envisioned together now seemed uncertain, overshadowed by deceit. The day after Sarah left to stay with her sister, the silence in the apartment was deafening. Everything felt off. Her coffee mug was still in the sink. Her scarf was draped over the back of the chair. Even the smell of her shampoo lingered in the bathroom. It was like she was still there, but she wasn't. I didn't tell anyone what happened. Not at first. I didn't want the questions, the judgment, the pity. I needed to figure things out on my own. I took off work for a few days, just to clear my head. I barely ate. I just sat, walked, and stared at my phone like it held some sort of answer. On the third day, I got a message from an unknown number. You deserve to know everything. She's done this before. With someone else. I was one of them. My stomach dropped. I stared at the message, hands shaking. I responded. Who is this? No answer. I called the number. Straight to voicemail. At first, I wanted to believe it was some random person trying to stir the pot. But something about the timing, it felt too real. Too intentional. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I confronted Sarah about it the next time we met. We decided to meet at a neutral place. A small diner halfway between our apartment and her sister's. She looked tired. Pale. Like she hadn't slept either. She picked at her food while I sipped coffee I didn't want. I didn't waste time. Who else was there? She looked up, confused. What do you mean? I showed her the message. She went completely still. Who sent you that? She asked, voice suddenly sharp. I don't know. But they said you've done this before. That they were part of it. She didn't answer right away. Then she looked down, twisting her napkin in her hands. It was years ago, she whispered. It was one time. We weren't in a good place. You were always working, and I felt invisible. I stared at her. So instead of talking to me, you cheated? Then you did it again. That's not a mistake. That's a pattern. Tears welled up in her eyes again. I didn't flinch. There was a guy from work, she said. It lasted 2 months. It ended when he moved to Boston. I leaned back in my seat, feeling sick. All those nights I thought she was working late. The excuses? The random smiles at her phone. It all made sense now. I had been blind. But what messed me up most wasn't just the cheating. It was how good she had gotten at lying. Like she had trained for it. A week passed. I tried to focus on work. On rebuilding some sense of normal. But that unknown number kept haunting me. Then, one night, it messaged again. He's back in town. If you want to see proof, meet me behind the Red Line stop at Belmont. Thursday night. 9 p.m. Come alone. It sounded like something out of a bad thriller movie. But I went. The alley was dark. Windy. Cold. I stood there, unsure if I was losing my mind. Then someone stepped out from the shadows. A man, maybe mid-30s, baseball cap low over his face. You're the husband? He asked. I nodded. I'm Jason. I used to work with Sarah. We were together. She told me you were separated. He pulled out his phone and showed me a string of messages. Photos. Selfies of him and Sarah, laughing, holding hands, even kissing in the break room at her office. My jaw clenched. I found out later she was married, he said. I ended it. I was angry, yeah? But I moved on. Then I saw her again last month, at that motel. Different guy this time. That's why I reached out. It was like my stomach had fallen out of my body. Sarah wasn't just unfaithful. She was living a double life. And somehow, I was the last to know. I went home and sat in the dark. The kind of quiet that feels heavy. That night I didn't sleep. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. The next morning, I woke up to a knock on the door. It was Sarah. I hadn't seen her in over a week since the diner. She looked worse. Like she hadn't eaten in days. Her hair was tied up carelessly. Her eyes were puffy, bloodshot. "I need to talk," she said quietly. I didn't say a word. Just stepped aside and let her in. She stood in the living room like a stranger in her own home. "I know about Jason," I said finally. She flinched like I slapped her. "He showed me the pictures. Told me everything. So before you start lying again, just know I'm not here to be fooled twice." Her shoulders dropped. She sat down on the edge of the couch. "I was going to tell you," she whispered. "When?" I asked, laughing bitterly. "Before or after you booked another motel?" She looked up at me. And this time, she didn't cry. "I think someone is watching me," she said. I stared at her. "What are you talking about?" She reached into her coat and pulled out a crumpled piece of paper. "This was on my windshield this morning." It was a photograph. A grainy, black and white image. Sarah. Standing outside the motel with the guy from that night. Holding his hand. Smiling. On the back of the photo, someone had written in thick black marker, "How many more before he finds out?" I felt a cold wave go down my spine. "Did Jason send this?" I asked. She shook her head. "I don't think so. He doesn't know where I live now. Only you and my sister do." We sat there, both silent. "Could it be someone from your office?" I asked. She hesitated. "Maybe, or maybe it's the other guy's wife." That stopped me cold. "What?" "The guy at the motel. He's married too." I stared at her in disbelief. "You were seeing a married man?" "He told me he was getting separated." I believed him. "You believed him?" I said, standing up. "You have me at home and you believed him?" I messed up, I know. But I think his wife found out. And she's not just angry, she's doing something about it. I ran my hands through my hair, trying to breathe. "Why are you even telling me all this?" "Because I think you're in danger too," she said, looking straight at me. That was when it got real. Over the next few days, strange things started happening. First, I found my car tires slashed outside my office. No note. No witnesses. Just deep, deliberate cuts. Then a dead bird was left on my doorstep. Not roadkill. It was placed there. Neck twisted. Its eyes staring up at me. I called the cops, filed a report, but they didn't have much to go on. No fingerprints. No cameras. Nothing concrete. That same night, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I answered. All I heard was heavy breathing, and then a whisper. "She lied to you. And now you're next." I hung up. Heart racing. I tried to trace the number, but it was a burner. No name. No data. I called Sarah. "We need to go to the police together," I said. She paused. "No. We can't. There's something else, something I didn't tell you." Of course there was. "What now?" She hesitated. Then said, "That guy? The one from the motel? He wasn't just married. His wife isn't just angry, she's dangerous." "Who is she?" "She used to work with me. She's not just his wife. She's the reason I met him. She introduced us, like it was all a game." "What are you talking about?" "She used to run this group. A private online community. For women who were bored in their marriages. Looking for adventure. We'd talk anonymously. Share stories. Meet up." "You're telling me this now?" "I stopped months ago," she said. I thought I did. But she never let go. She followed me. And when she found out I crossed the line with her husband, you think she's the one sending photos, making calls? She's unstable. And she knows things about me. About you. A knot formed in my stomach. She ever been here? I asked. Yes, Sarah whispered. Once. For dinner. You wouldn't remember. She said she was a client. I looked around the room suddenly, like it had been infiltrated. My phone buzzed. One new message. A video this time. A hidden camera angle, our kitchen. From just 2 days ago. I saw myself eating cereal, scrolling on my phone. In the background, just barely visible through the kitchen window, a figure. Watching. Waiting. Whoever this woman was, this wasn't about cheating anymore. This was war. I didn't sleep for 2 nights after watching that video. Whoever this woman was, she wasn't just lurking. She had been inside our life. Inside my home. I changed all the locks. Bought security cameras. Filed another police report. The officer barely looked at me as I explained. Do you know her name? He asked. I didn't. All I had was Sarah's vague description and the fact that she once sat at my dinner table, probably smiling as she passed the salt. Sarah came over again the next day, uninvited. Her hands trembled as she held her phone up to me. She sent me this. A voice recording. Female. Low, cold voice. I wonder how long it'll take before he realizes you were never scared. Just guilty. You're no victim. You enjoyed it. Sarah looked wrecked. Pale. Lost. She was breaking under the pressure. I should have felt sorry for her. But I didn't. I was too far gone. I need to talk to her, I said. What? No. You can't. She's dangerous. She knows where I live. She's already involved in my life. She wants something. So I'm going to give her what she wants, a face-to-face. We met in a public place. A little cafe near the lake, crowded enough for safety. Sarah arranged it. Said she needed to come too? The woman arrived 10 minutes late. I recognized her instantly. Long black coat, red lipstick, eyes that didn't blink much. Her name was Anna. She sat across from me like we were old friends. Sarah sat beside me, hands clenched in her lap. Anna smiled. Well, this is cozy. You've been harassing us, I said, not bothering with pleasantries. Why? Anna leaned forward. Harassment? Is that what this is? You think that's what you deserve? She turned to Sarah. You lied to me. You broke every rule. You took what wasn't yours. And then you tried to play the scared little housewife. Sarah stayed quiet. Anna turned back to me. She wasn't just meeting one man. Or two. You think this motel thing was new? She was part of it for years. I ran the club. I kept it secret. She promised she'd never get emotionally involved. What are you talking about? I asked. She slept with my husband, Anna said calmly, and smiled in my face. And when I confronted her, she acted like I was the one who ruined her life. Sarah started crying. She told me it was over. Anna snapped. She said she stopped. But she didn't. She moved on to other men. And lied to them too. The cafe went quiet. A few heads turned. Anna didn't care. She didn't tell you about the others, did she? Anna said, her eyes narrowing. There were at least 4 more. Maybe 5. She kept a burner phone for them. I turned to Sarah, stunned. Is that true? She looked like she might throw up. I didn't want to hurt you anymore. Anna stood. He deserves to know. That's all I wanted. I was never going to hurt you. But I was going to take away the lie you built. And with that, she walked out. The silence afterward was brutal. I couldn't even look at Sarah. Outside the cafe, she tried to grab my hand. Please, you lied to me every day, I said. You looked me in the eyes while building a second life. I didn't mean for it to go this far. You cheated. You gaslit me. You brought danger into our home. I was lost. You weren't lost. You were busy. She sobbed uncontrollably in the parking lot. I just stood there, feeling nothing. Numb. A few days later, her sister called. Said Sarah had checked into a rehab facility for trauma and dependency issues. I didn't ask what kind. I didn't go visit. I needed space. I needed to breathe. I told a few friends what happened. Some were supportive. One friend, Mark, flat out said, "Man, how did you not see it?" That stung more than I expected. My parents were shocked but didn't pry. They just told me to come visit anytime. I moved out of our apartment a week later. Gave Sarah time to deal with her demons. I didn't want to live in a place full of ghosts. It's been 4 months now. We're separated legally. Not divorced yet. I haven't decided if I want to close the door completely. Do I still love her? In a way, yes. But I don't trust her. And without trust, love just limps around, pretending to be alive. Some nights I still replay that knock on the motel door. The way her eyes widened when she saw me standing there. How terrified she looked. Not because she was afraid for me. Because she was afraid I finally knew. I've learned a lot. About deceit. About weakness. About the version of someone you build in your mind, and how different that can be from who they really are. I'm not sure where I'm going next. But I know this: I'll never ignore my gut again. Ever.